Oh, yeah. What up, party peoples? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for some more BrassReel tonight. So this one's actually live today. Yesterday, me and, or the day before, Rylan and I, we did it kind of pre-testing just to make sure we had everything right and, learn from some mistakes there. Hope you guys can hear me right now. Hope everything's looking good. I'm looking at it over there. I think it looks pretty decent. I think it looks all right. So anyways, yeah, so looking over there. Well, I thought one of the things that would be really cool is to start telling you guys one of the reasons I wanted to do this and kind of what the show is going to be about. And it's going to be evolving. It's not really set in stone exactly how this show is going to be. But this week I'm doing one kind of every 2 days. I did one on Tuesday and I'm going to do one now on Thursday. But next week, I'm going to do one every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Not going to do it on Saturday, not going to do it on Sunday, but it's all going to be just movie stuff. And I'd like to get you guys involved with it. Anybody that's watching or anybody that wants to watch or wants to tune in, I'm sure there's nobody watching at this moment. Doesn't look like there is. But I'm sure somebody will watch this in the future, hopefully. And I just want to get some community going. I wanted to get it going just like some of the other shows I've seen. I'm sure you watch some other shows. I got some guys that I'm trying to connect with at some point. Always been watching them. They've definitely been inspiring to me. But Drum Dums, Lee, and Jay and Mike over at We Watched the Movie, Wham. My goal is to connect with and collaborate with you guys at some point. So just be on the lookout for me shouting out for y'all and everything like that. But I do want to get people involved in the comments. I want to eventually get people suggesting topics for me to talk about. But I am ultimately going to be talking about just everything that I like going on in movies. I am going to try to have guests on, like Rylan. I'm going to have him on every Monday, I think. Hopefully I can get some other people involved and just join me here and there. You will see me sometimes by myself, but as of right now, I think Rylan is going to be joining me every Monday. So with that being said, let's get started with some movie talk. Like I said, you guys are going to have to give me, I'm keeping it a little lax around here. I'm not trying to get super format right now. At some point I'd like to get there, but I'm just keeping it chill. I'm just hanging out. I got my little Deadpool mug right here. Pretty awesome. I get a lot of compliments on this mug. It's retro looking. It looks nice. It's got like Hot Babes and the Deadpool logo right there. Anyways, so I don't know. I'm going to cover a few things right now. Just starting off, Allison Mack is in the news again. I don't know if you guys remember Allison Mack from Smallville. Man, I loved her. I used to be all up into Smallville. That was back when Smallville was not a dime a dozen show, because now we got the Flash, we got Arrowverse, that whole thing, which in my opinion, it's not that good. I've never been a fan of what CW is doing with that stuff now. I think the reason that Smallville worked back then is because it was the only one. It was like nobody had done it yet. It was this cool prequel we saw about Superman and them tying Lex and him hit their past together. And yeah, they ended up turning it into sort of like getting all of Superman's villains he had later. Once he had the suit on, they just brought that into sort of his younger years. But I still enjoyed it for what it was. Nowadays, they're just going way too crazy with it, and I just don't like any of it. But when Smallville was out, I loved Allison Mack. And I'm not going to lie, I was really heartbroken when this whole thing and her and Keith Raniere came out. Now, I'm not sticking up for her by any means. It's nothing like that. I don't think that she deserves a pass on anything that she was involved with. I think that I don't know any of this stuff, First off, I don't know anybody in the industry. I don't have any connections. So anything I talk about on this show is just going to be what I think and what I've kind of gathered off of everything I've read or watched. But from what it seems like, she wasn't just one of those victims that just got into it and fell into it like was brainwashed or anything like that. Looked like she had some sort of agenda as well, and she was kind of in control of things from what I understood. At least that's what they say. Those like little tattoo marks they were putting on everybody. It was like a mixture of her initials and Keith Raniere's initials. But she just got sentenced to 3 years yesterday. So I don't know if you guys think that's enough. I personally think that that's a little light considering some of the lives that her and Keith Raniere ruined. And again, I loved Allison Mack, cute little Allison Mack. She was Chloe on Smallville. I loved her. But doing this kind of stuff, messing with people's lives and screwing them up for the rest of their lives, that's kind of crazy. So I don't know. 3 years is light, I think. What do you guys think? Let me know. Also, same kind of situation, but not in recruiting sexual people and doing like sex trafficking. This is just for misbehaving, kind of in that Me Too element. James Franco, I don't know if you guys haven't seen him a lot in the media lately, or if you haven't seen, excuse me, he's been in the media, but he hasn't been in movies a whole lot. He hasn't been in a whole lot of shows because he was like accused for doing some things. Now it just got reported that he settled for $2.2 million for paying off somebody for some sort of sexual lawsuit. So, you know, I feel like if you're going to settle for something like that, yeah, you might be just wanting to get people off your back. But at the same time, if you're going to settle and pay that much money, I feel like there's something there. Same thing about him, the way I feel about Allison Mack. It sucks, man. I loved all your humor, James. Like, you were hilarious. You and Seth and the whole crew, all you guys were awesome. I loved everything y'all had to offer, but I don't know. Does he have a career now after this? What do you think? I mean, can you guys get on board with watching a James Franco movie again and like see him in that same light? Because think about it. All of his jokes were based off of like sex jokes and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if he can follow that same style of comedy. And he is a pretty good actor outside of comedy as well. But I do think it's just, I don't know. What do you think? Does he have a career? I don't think so. I think it's over. And another person in the news as well. Sorry, I keep getting something like an itch right on my nose there. Another person in the news is just now trying to make a comeback is Kevin Spacey. Now, are we ready for Kevin Spacey to come back? Are you guys ready for Kevin to come back? It's another one. I don't know. I wasn't so sure about hating Kevin Spacey when he got in all that trouble right off. The thing that made me dislike him for the most part was when he was doing all those weird videos for like Thanksgiving and Christmas, where he was like cutting the turkey or doing something like washing dishes and everything. And he was like in character from the guy of Game of Cards. That was just, or House of Cards, excuse me, Game of Thrones, House of Cards, getting them mixed up, of House of Cards. And that was, to me, just the one that set it over the edge. At first, I was just like, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't really know what's going on. But when I saw that, I was just like, dude, you look guilty and you're acting like a creepo. So are we ready for Kevin Spacey to come back? He's trying to make like his whole resurgence. In fact, he's supposed to be doing some sort of cameo in an Italian film. I don't know if there's any like validity to how like successful it's going to be, or if it's even going to get seen by anybody, but he's trying to do something. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can look at him the same after those videos. Another thing I want to say about somebody in the news is Britney. Man, they just found out now that the judge did not agree with what she said, and like she had that whole thing to where she was coming out in the courtroom and just testified and just poured her whole heart out and said all these god-awful things that her dad was doing to her, and this whole like conservatorship was causing her life to be like, and they just overturned it and was like, nope, you're still under the rule of your dad. Yeah, and I know there's more complications to it and everything from what people are saying, but it's like you got this whole crew of people out there, I mean, including me to an extent. I mean, I don't think anybody should be controlled over like that. If they're making that type of money and they're working that much, and they obviously have a huge fan base. I mean, it's Britney Spears. I don't like her music. I'm not into that kind of stuff. But, man, she's got a huge following, and I think she's paved her way and earned her keep to do what she wants, especially some of the stuff they were saying about her, like, being like, prohibited to have children and things like that. I mean, it's a little wacky to me. So, free Britney. It's not movie-related. I just had to say that. Something else I found out about, and I knew this was in the works, Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you got some Lord of the Rings fans out there, but Amazon purchased the rights to Lord of the Rings to do a TV show. Now, we're not talking about just a little show they want to do that's a side shoot or whatever. I mean, I don't want to compare it to anything like Mandalorian that's come out, because even those are like side shows. They're still quality, but they're, from what I understand, not going to be on the quality of this. So Amazon just paid, this is no kidding, $250 million just for the TV rights, just for the rights to be able to make a TV show. They paid $250 million. I don't know if I've ever heard of a licensing transition more than $5 to $10 million. Like, yeah, we'll buy the rights to a franchise, a license, or something to do. They don't own it. It's not like they paid $250 million to own it now. Just to have the rights to do the show, they paid $250 million. So to quote Robert Meyer Burnett and John Campea, they have already successfully made the most expensive TV show of all time ever made and not even shot one frame. And then it's being reported that they're spending $465 million on the first season. What the hell? I mean, look, spending money on that kind of stuff is great. And it is Amazon, so they have the money to spend. And hopefully and this is what a lot of people are hoping for as well, but hopefully they're looking at this as the opportunity of a lifetime, a franchise, a brand, a world, a fantasy world to build on that they can maybe accelerate for a long time. So hopefully this $465 million thing means that they're taking it seriously and they're not just like throwing money at it. They're like, look, we want to show everybody that we ain't playing. And we're going to make something that's very memorable and something you guys are never going to forget, which if they do, that's awesome. I enjoyed the Hobbit movies. I didn't like them near as much as Lord of the Rings. But think about this. Lord of the Rings cost $300 million for all three combined. Now, granted, there was all kinds of guerrilla-style filmmaking on that. It was Peter Jackson using his just super underground style of technique to be able to him and Sam Raimi are very similar in the sense that they can make a lot of stuff look good with no money. And they had a lot of people doing them favors and things like that. But the budget went up way bigger for The Hobbit than it was for Lord of the Rings. But point I'm trying to make, $300 million for the entire three films to be made. They paid $250 million just to get the rights to make a TV show. It's Amazon, they can do it. They're just throwing money around. That's cool. So I just hope it's good. And I hope it's just not some just big, I don't know, over the top, too popcorny, too glamorous, too flashy, because sometimes, in my opinion, when you have so much money to throw at something, you sort of lose a little quality. You lose that artist inspiration, that sort of desperation to make something good with anything you have. Because when you're dealing with very little resources, you get really creative and sometimes accidentally come up with some of the coolest stuff you ever have seen, and it wouldn't have necessarily happened if you would have just had all the cushy tools and toys at your disposal. So I just hope it's going to turn out good. That's my only thing. If it turns out bad, that's a lot of money. I mean, it's almost $1 billion just for a TV show for one season. Jeez. So moving on, let's talk about the prequel for The Sopranos. The Sopranos trailer just came out, or it's actually called The Many Saints of New. Wait, hang on. What is it called? Yeah, The Many Saints of Newark. And it's literally a prequel of Tony Soprano and his uprise. Like why he is the way he is. It shows his mom in there, who's played by Vera Farmiga. It's got some other heavyweights in there. Ray Liotta's in it. It's got that one guy. For some reason, I had it pulled up and I got distracted with trying to set up all this live stuff. I don't have it pulled up right now, but it's the guy that played Castor Troy in Face Off, Nicolas Cage's brother. He was also the sidekick in Jurassic Park 3 to Sam Neill. Can't remember that guy's name, but he's in it too, and it looks like he plays like Tony Soprano's uncle in the show. And honestly, it really looks good, especially when they end the title and they show, the title of it, what it's going to be, and there's a little gun in there, in the logo that's like shaped the same way as the Sopranos gun was, and they're playing that Sopranos song, woke up this morning. So it looks pretty good. I'm excited for it. I wasn't honestly excited to hear about a Sopranos prequel, but it is being done by David Chase, the guy that did the original Sopranos show, which, I don't know. What do you guys think? Satisfied with the Sopranos? Are we disappointed in it? The Sopranos something that, well, you were like me, waiting so long, and then you really invested in the show, and you just watch it and that screen goes blank. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen it, sorry. But I don't know. Did it really piss you off when that screen went black, or did you see what they were going for? I feel like I kind of felt what they were going for, but I was also I felt like I deserved more. After all the time I'd invested in it, I deserved more. I got it if he was going for some sort of like he just got assassinated and we were in his POV point of view and it just went blank. I mean, I get that. I totally understand it, but is it worth it? It's kind of like the Game of Thrones ending. It's just like, you guys, you're waiting like almost a couple years between the seasons too, and at the end there, and this is what you give us? I mean, it was super rushed feeling. Everybody even admitted it was rushed. So I don't feel like The Sopranos was rushed like that, but I don't know. Was it a lackluster ending or not? I'm still kind of on the fence about that. But the trailer for Many Saints of Newark does look good. It's got also the other heavy hitter is John Bernthal in it. Man, everything that John Bernthal is in it, I pretty much like. I didn't necessarily love Those Who Wish Me Dead, the one that came out on HBO Max recently with Angelina Jolie. I did a review for it on here on the channel. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It was a good enough movie. I'm glad I saw it on HBO Max, but John Bernthal's good in it. He's good in everything, in my opinion, especially the Punisher. Hey, bring Punisher back. Punisher needs to come to the MCU. Punisher, John Bernthal, MCU. Let's get that going. Another trailer that came out yesterday, the Beckett trailer. I don't know if y'all have seen that one with John David Washington. I had no idea this was coming out, knew nothing about it. Looks pretty good. I got to say, it does look a little Tenet-y, meaning that it looks very weird and what's going on. There's this vague plot, all this sort of secretive things and espionage going on around this character that seem to have a simple life, kind of. And I don't know. It's funny that he's doing these two movies like this where it's like a character that doesn't know who he is. I was all right on Tenet. To me, it was kind of disappointing. It wasn't a bad movie, but a little disappointing compared to Christopher Nolan's other films. But this Beckett one's got me interested. I think it looks good. I didn't notice anybody specific in it. I didn't really pay attention, to be honest with you, who the director was or anything like that. Soon I'm going to have all this set up to where I'm going to have all my screens and everything, and I'm going to be able to display some of these screenshots right there on the screen for you to look. Like I said, I'm just starting this out in a slow fashion, working all the kinks out as I go. It's kind of how I like to live. That's how I believe. You're never ready for anything. Don't wait till you're ready for anything. Yeah, you want to have some things. Like, obviously, I need a computer to do this. I need a webcam. But if I got the bare essentials, usually I like to just start it and keep building. Like, if I look at my old first reviews that I did, they're hard to watch just because they're crappy. I mean, they're just terribly edited, everything. But I started and I learned from it. So that's what I'm doing with this thing. So bear with me, and I appreciate you guys. Another thing that was kind of coming out about Charlize Theron is she's got a script to The Old Guard working as a sequel script to The Old Guard. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's one of them Netflix movies that I was just kind of, I guess it's okay. I guess it's fun to watch, like Extraction. Same thing with that. Yeah, the fight scenes are good, but is it a good movie? Am I in it? Kind of really not. And don't get me wrong. I love Charlize. I love to look at her. She's amazing. And she's an awesome actress. She truly is. But, the last two Fast and Furious movies she was in, especially F9, the more and more I think about that on my review, I should have given that a D at least. Maybe it'd have been the F. The C was too light. I gave it a C, but that's another talk. But she's coming out with that one. Apparently, it's going to be a sequel to that. Just weird. They're making all these sequels to these movies lately that I'm not sure that I was expecting or even needed a sequel to. Like The Hitman's Bodyguard, the Hitman Bodyguard's wife now. That one's coming out. Now, don't get me wrong. It does look actually pretty entertaining. And I did like The Hitman's Bodyguard, but I just don't see why we need the sequel to those movies. Kind of like The Equalizer 2. I'm like, I don't care about that. And I do like those movies. I truly do. All right. Moving on, though. Oh, as far as, badass girls in movies, let me just touch on this, too, real fast. So Black Widow, which I'm really excited about, and I don't think that enough people... Don't get me wrong. There's true fans out there like me and some other friends that are true MCU fans that I think understand what this movie is going to give us and what this movie's been trying to give us because it's been delayed so long because of COVID. But I do feel like this movie is going to have more to offer to the MCU as a whole than just another Black Widow backstory. Yes, I think it's going to be a Black Widow backstory that we didn't know of. We're going to find out some things about her family and all that. But I don't think that it's just going to be that. I think some things are going to be unveiled in this that are going to matter to the future of the MCU more now. And that's the beauty about comics. You can do that and write it in. Comics are based on them going backwards and forwards. Oh, let's implement this in the past here so we can make this happen now in the future. I mean, all kind of stuff like that. So I think that Black Widow is going to offer that. And I do feel like it's going to be more of an important film to the MCU than just a Black Widow prequel backstory. With that being said, it's now getting reports that it's much grittier of a Marvel film than we've seen in the past. So that's got me excited. Definitely pumped up about that. And I think the Black Widow character, people talk about her and Hawkeye being like, they ain't got no powers, but it's like, yeah, but they're exceptional human beings. And that kind of like tips the scales the right way in the Avengers team, in my opinion, because yeah, well, you got Captain America, who is a human at heart. He's got super, powers because of the serum and everything, but he's a human and he still has that morality and he still sees himself as equal. Whereas you got some of the other ones with their powers and everything, they sort of lose track of that, the small guy, or they stop relating with the smaller man and things like that. And I think that that's kind of what Black Widow and Hawkeye's characters are in the team for, is to keep, like I said, the scales level, to make it to where, yeah, we do have some superhuman people in here going on, but we still, it doesn't mean those superhuman people have the best brains or the best idea, or even can do the specific things that these people can do. And a human that has that courage to do it along with the superhumans, to me, that says something about the characters. And I like that. So I'm looking forward to this movie a lot, and to hear that it's grittier, I'm really pumped up about that. Any American Horror Story fans out there? I don't know if you guys enjoy that show as much as I do. Yes, there are some moments that have some holes, or you feel like they sort of lost their way in the writing on certain seasons here and there. It's kind of like, you are drifting a little bit. But I do feel like as a whole, the show is extremely original, and it gives me the cool horror feel that I like to feel and anything that I'm watching a horror movie. And when I say horror movie, I didn't mean to say that, TV, but the beauty about those shows is they are pretty graphic and they're deep like horror movies. And now that they can curse on there and everything, and the production quality is good, I like American Horror Story. I do have some seasons that I love way more than the others, and I do have a couple of seasons that I'm kind of on. One, Apocalypse, just was definitely my least favorite. A lot of people dogged on the last season, the 1984. I thought that one was awesome, but I love the 80s. And then I thought the rest of the seasons were pretty solid. On top of that, Apocalypse was one I was just kind of disappointed in. I really like Roanoke. A lot of people dog on that one. I thought Roanoke might be my favorite one to rewatch. It's got a cool haunted house ride feel to it. Like you're on that ride. You're not like on a ride, obviously, but the way each episode progresses, I just like the way that one feels, because it kind of all takes place in a few days, and I just like that one. But the second season of the 10th season of American Horror Story is going to be coming out soon. It's got all kind of new people, Macaulay Culkin in it. It's got some regulars, Sarah Paulson's coming back. But I think that what they're doing with this one that just was released, 2 stories in 1 season. So I don't know how many episodes that's going to be. Lately, they've been like 10 to 11 episodes or 9 to 10 episodes. So I don't know if we're going to get 2 5-episode stories, but they are doing 2 separate story arcs in general in the same season, but they're definitely going to connect them somehow, because I think they're going to be taking place in the same city. So I'm kind of excited about that. I think it's a new twist, a new like original approach on the show. And Ryan Murphy and Brad Fulchek, that's kind of their thing. They like to do the wacky horror that hasn't been done yet, while touching on the familiar horror that you're used to and accustomed to. So we'll see. I just don't know the exact release date yet. I was hoping we're going to get it for this Halloween, because I love it when they have the parallel Halloween episode that coincides with the Halloween day. Not always on the day, but usually it's around the time. So we'll see if that's going to come now. I do know that it's taking place like either on Maine or in Oregon or something like that, but on like a northern coast somewhere in America. I feel like there's going to be mermaids in it. That's what it looks like. But you never can tell with the advertisement with American Horror Story. It's always so vague, and sometimes they even put out like 6 different red herrings to try to lure you in different ways to think, oh, maybe it's going to be about this, maybe it's going to be about that. But ultimately, it's only about one of the things they advertise. I think that's pretty clever. That's part of what I like about American Horror Story, is all that mystique and digging you have to do before the show even starts. So we'll see if it's going to live up to its name. What do you guys think? I don't know if you are American Horror Story fans. Are you excited about the new season? Are you ready for it just because it's 2 years overdue now? I am. So moving on. Pumped up about that. Oh, this one, though. Yesterday, the Don't Breathe 2 trailer came out. Now, I loved Don't Breathe, directed by Fede Alvarez, I think, same guy who did the Evil Dead remake, which I thought was excellent as well. But Don't Breathe, not only was I looking forward to seeing it, but it was way more of a surprise for me, especially because of the twist ending. We got, I'm not going to say anything if you haven't seen that one, because that one's like a Sixth Sense type thing where you need to not be told about the twist at all. Like no details or clues, just because it's that good. But Stephen Lang's character, he's awesome in the movie, and I've always liked him. I loved him in Avatar. I don't know why he's not been in anything else. I'm not sure why I feel like that he has this commanding presence. I mean, I think that everybody agrees that he should have been Cable. I love Josh Brolin. I think Josh Brolin's awesome. He's a great actor. I mean, a phenomenal actor. And he did a good job as Cable. And he was awesome as Thanos, all that. I mean, he's been great since Goonies. But come on, look at Stephen Lang. And, if you can, Google him, look him up. He is Cable. I mean, I feel like maybe somebody saw Cable, the artist who created Cable, and saw Stephen Lang in real life and was like, I'm going to draw Cable after him. That's how much he looks like Cable. And the fact that he didn't play him, and he's all bowed up and muscular and everything. I mean, remember him in Avatar? He was the bad guy, the gray-haired dude. I just am surprised he didn't play Cable. But I do love him in Don't Breathe, and I think he was a great choice for that role. And the way they're doing the Don't Breathe 2 trailer, I mean, it seems a little spoiler heavy, but I feel like we're going to get another twist that we don't know that's coming. But who knows? Sometimes with sequels, they mess it up. But instead of them breaking into his house, he's trying to go help someone. It looks like somebody pissed him off really bad, and he's having an adventure outside of his house. And this is a guy that's blind. He can't see. The whole premise of the first one was these people breaking into his house, and it was a blind man's house, but he was able to shut off the power, and he figured out and knew how to get around in the dark, and they didn't. And he just tormented them like crazy. Well, this one, it looks like it's taking him out of the house, and he's having to sort of find his way. And the trailer does look cool. It just looks a little spoiler heavy. But a lot of people say the Halloween Kills trailer looks spoiler heavy as well, and I don't think it does. I think that we're literally just seeing some of the opening scenes. I just think there's like a ton of kills in that movie. We do see like 13 kills in the trailer, the Halloween Kills trailer, though. But I think there's from what I understand, there's like 30 kills or something like that in the movie. So I really think that we were just seeing glimpses of the opening scene. Oh, but I am definitely excited about the Halloween movie. No question about that. And I'm definitely excited about this Don't Breathe 2 movie. I think it's one of those ones, unexpected trailer. Didn't expect it. And unlike The Equalizer, and unlike some of the other ones that they have the trailers where I'm just like, why? Like the Hitman Bodyguard wife. It's like this one, I didn't see a trailer coming, or I didn't see a sequel coming, but I'm pumped up for it. I think it's going to be pretty solid just because that actor's so good and the person was so good. And, I got one more thing to talk about, and I think I'm going to end it, guys, just because I don't have anybody talking with me today. And like I said, just still working these out, and I wanted to throw this out there. So we got a little bit of a shorter episode on BrassReel tonight, but give a little kudos out there. Oh, got a little Amber Alert. I'll check that in just a second. Little kudos to Jamie Lee Curtis out there. I think it's pretty cool. She's getting this Golden Lion Award. It's like a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 78th Venice Film Festival, which, I mean, that's pretty big deal to get that award at that festival. And they're going to be airing Halloween Kills there also. So to Jamie Lee, I think it's awesome. I think you deserve way more awards than that. We said it the other day on the other episode, Rylan and I did. You are the Scream Queen. I mean, you officially have earned it at this point. I don't think anybody can ever catch up to you as far as just the amount of awesome horror films you've done and other films outside of horror that you've done that are great. You're a phenomenal actress, so you deserve that award. I think it's awesome. Drum Dums, Lee, Jay, and Mike, we watched the movie. I'm going to keep shouting out to y'all. You guys try to hook me up. Let's collaborate somehow. I don't care how it is. Let's do a live stream together. Let's do some reviews together. Let's do something. But I've been watching you guys for a long time. You are partly why I started doing reviews and stuff about a year ago, and now why I'm doing this live stream. So, yeah, much love to you guys. Hope to hear from y'all at some point. Maybe we can collaborate. But anyways, that's another episode of BrassReel tonight. Appreciate y'all joining me, guys. Click on the like button if you enjoyed the video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already so you can help us make it to the top. And if you guys want to start commenting, give me some suggestions on what you think I should do, if I'm sounding good, if I'm sounding bad, if you want to be on the show, just help me shape this thing up better to where I want it to be. And, hopefully this thing can become something. So, hey, y'all have a good one, guys. make some hot, fresh popcorn. Peace. That was fake.